Oh, yes, indeed. I'm out here enjoying this beautiful scenery out at the port. You saw this behind me. These is opportunities. This is what we're talking about. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but what's wrong with having containers being brought up on barges and offloading out here, and rails offloading off of the boards onto trucks, chassis, and hauling containers? How much money that could be, and knowing the container business is a multi-billion dollar business. Everything America is known as being an import place. We export a little and we import a lot. And here we are standing out at the port, and this is outside of Tallulah. This is all this beautiful land of water. I mean, like it could be a beach on the other side. You got all for recreation, then you got all this back here that could be working. You got tankers and things coming in here, loading out of here. They're loading rock out of here. You got Bungie next door loading grain. You see barges coming through all the time, yet we're not capitalizing on the opportunity that we have to better ourselves. You know, all we got to do, people, is just learn to work together to benefit the whole. And we can do that. We can do that. If ants can work together to build a mound and create revenue, why can't we? And the Bible says, consider the ant. Look at the ant. Consider these things. Look at the squirrels. The animals got more activity usually than we do as people with intelligence. They do things through instinct, and here we all this intelligence we have, and we can't seem to get together and do anything to help ourselves. Creating jobs. We got to create jobs of a system of skills that matches the job. People run around and want a job, but you have the job skills. So we need to learn out what skills do we need to make this a more industrial, more productive place, because you don't need a rocket scientist if you ain't got no place for rockets. But we're talking about building boats, working, welding and things like this, of this nature. Working on the railroad, engineering and stuff. We need to get our skills compatible to the needs that we need, you know. And that's what we're talking about here. Getting ourselves together and matching skills to job qualifications. Everybody don't need to go to college. No, you need to get a good skill. You need to learn how to survive, how to be a productive citizen in a society where it looks like everything is going somewhere else. With jobs being outsourced, then you need to create jobs, you know, and that's what we're looking at out here. You see me out here, we're out here in the neighborhood looking, they're fishing and they're going on enjoying, but at the same time, how much revenue can we bring in to the city, to Madison Parish, to help ourselves, you know. If you have they often say if you build a better mousetrap, America will be the path to your door. Then we need to work on all these great creative minds getting together, rather than sitting around complaining. You know, I had an opportunity to go and attend one of the poverty summits. You know, they was talking about strengths and weaknesses. But all I got is solutions. Right here. Container. Go do research on container. Dallas, Texas don't have this. They got rail, but it's the largest inland hub in America. Dallas do not have this. Yet Dallas is the #1 inland hub in America. Now I was told that we sent some people over to China back when Jan Griffith was living, and those brothers went to China. What did they bring back in China? I don't see nothing out here. You know, so much money. But when the mayor of Dallas sent the brothers from Dallas to China, they came back with all the Chinese business in the hubs in Dallas. You got BNSF, then you got Southern Pacific, and you got all those big container yards, and they're running round the clock, 24/7. And you talk about hundreds of trucks. Now we've seen the truck stop. You've seen what's out there. What about adding this as a container offload to run containers out here? We're talking about, what, maybe 300 or 400 jobs, basically. You know, we're not capitalizing on our asset. Now, this just pop back talking. You know, I mean, man, just mind your own business. This is my business. I live in Tallulah. Yeah, I'm 70 years old. But what about the children that come on behind, our children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, children being raised here that's leaving, they don't want to come back to Tallulah? We're losing people every year. We're losing families because there is no future they say here in Tallulah. And I beg to differ. It's all kind of futures here in Tallulah. We're just not capitalizing on what's there. Quit looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Create your rainbow. Create your pot of gold. The thing that seems so insignificant to them could become richer to others. They all time say one man's treasure is another man's treasure. We need to work together. Get rid of all this old racist stuff, all this color thing, because one thing for sure, you're talking about what's going on with ISIS. Boy, if ISIS dropped over here, you see folk coming together. You see clans dropping their robes. You see people getting together because they're trying to save themselves. Why can't we unify now? Why can't we come together now and save ourselves? Economically, Tallulah. Why can't we come together and quit the bickering? You know, it does not make any sense for us to go around here complaining when we have right at our fingertips the assets to change our life. One thing the Most High gave us, I use the word Most High for the benefit of those who don't seem to understand. He gave you 5 senses that you operate with on a day, but you gave you 7. You just don't use them all. But the 5, we can use the 5 and to help ourselves. And the other one we need to use because that's called clairvoyance, and what they call the other is clairvoyance and what is that, intuition. We need to put these things to work. Get a vision. For that same Bible you pack around all the time, it says, without a vision, the people perish. We don't need a dream, because most dreams try to be in nightmares. You need a vision. And without a vision, the people perish. I call myself the prophet of truth and visionarian. I see these things, and I'm not the only one to see these things, but I'll talk about it. If you want it talked about, then don't let me see it. Because I see it, I'm like an old ice box. I got to tell it. I'm going to tell it. Because I think we can do better. And nothing wrong with being able to support your family in a manner in which they're able to take care of. It'll cut out a whole lot of stuff. You know, a whole lot of stuff. I'm out here. Man, this is a beautiful day out here. The breeze off the water is nice. Brothers and things are fishing. Trucks and things are coming in and out the port, the tankers are picking up. I mean, big commerce is going on. I rolled in over there, I think it's 6-pack running around the clock. The asphalt plant is running. I mean, work is going on somewhere. Why aren't you a part of that? Why aren't you not learning how to run some of these machines? We need schools on machinery. I want to say this about our superintendent. She has a vision about putting some of these schools, putting driving classes back in the school. We're talking about teaching the cosmetology in the school. Because we need what they call a magnet school that can address, that deal with skills, fine arts and skills. So our children who do not go to college can yet create a lifestyle and a livelihood for them. Let me go back and touch on a little history. I often wonder why every little girl in Tallulah wanted to be a hairdresser. When I found out who started and where she came from, Madam C.J. Walker. Her name was Sarah. Well, her name was Sarah. What her name? Sarah Breedlove, who started right out of the Delta because she had a hair condition that took her hair out. She came up with a hair product. Her spirit is still here. Everybody around Tallulah know how to braid hair, knows with hair. You know. That means that spirit is here. That spirit of entrepreneurship. She became known as the first self-made millionaire. And we got a bunch of other people become self-made millionaire. Tallulah got a great history. Delta Airlines started out of Tallulah. You understand? You got some of the turning points of the Civil War was right out of Tallulah. You know, we go on, and somebody need to tell our story. Who is telling our story? Nobody. You know, we're talking about Milliken being. We're talking about all these things. These things could be setting points to get people to come here and get in a little buggy, like you go down you do in Dallas and down in Natchez, get a little white buggy with the horse, and the man tell our story. We got Poverty Point, just I would consider that be northwest of us. One of the oldest landmarks, older as the pyramids in Egypt. We got things we could talk about. We're going to talk about each other. Let's take that energy, put our resources, and let's build each other rather than tear down. This is Alvin Bagby. I'm just trying to add a little more flavor to it. But it says, a picture was 1,000 words. Here is my picture. Here is my picture. Now you go figure. You do the math. Do the research. You do the research. Trucks coming over the hill right now. Tankers coming all over the hill right now. I mean, one by one. In fact, look around, another coming over the hill. That means commerce. That means money. That means things is going on out here. Come on now. My. I need me a catering truck out. I'd be sitting right there when they come over the hill. I'd have some kind of meals ready to go, meals on wheels or something. You know, something you got to meet a demand. You got to meet the needs of the people. You got to meet the needs of what we need. And the need is that we got to create something to fulfill those needs. You see them right here. Trucks coming in, sitting and waiting to go load. You know, I was in Dallas the other week at a location picking up a load, and a man drove up in a station wagon. He had hot dinners. He didn't have a catering truck. He had hot dinners in the back in a container, and the guys bought these dinners, you know. So it's just great to know that we have all these opportunities that we're not tapping into. Now somebody that want to know what we're doing, they want to go on down the hill, bro. Yeah, because we're trying to tell our story. Somebody needs to tell our story. Somebody needs to write our story. Tallulah, we've got a story to tell. I've got a story to tell. Well, that's the one right here. This is Tallulah. We are the greatest thing. We're the best kept secret in Madison Parish. Let me go further. We're the best kept secret in Louisiana. Let's capitalize on the opportunity. Love you. Pop Bagby. Let me say this before I close. If there's a work you begun, never leave until it's done. Be it great or be it small. You hear me? Do it well or not at all. Did you get that? Did you get that? Huh? Excuses are monuments of nothingness. They build bridges to nowhere. And those who choose you, these tools of incompetence, become masters of nothing.